So did you all hear that a Las Vegas judge was attacked in the courtroom by a defendant? If you haven't, you likely will. It's going to be all over your feed here in the next couple of days. I want to show you some things that they're not showing you that happened prior to the defendant attacking the judge.
I feel that, I should be, sent to prison for a second time.
Have you looked at your criminal history? Have you looked at your criminal history?
I actually just, I looked at it.
I mean, you lived it, I suppose.
I just looked at it,
Yeah.
And,
3 felonies, a gross, 9 misdemeanors, multiple DVs. Got a lot going on, sir.
Yeah, I just figured,
battery on a protected person, robberies, attempt home invasion. Go ahead, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just
figured, I'm in a better place in my mind, my mental health. I have a support system. I just got hired as a teamster for, the union, making $20 an hour. And the reason behind every single domestic violence, I've been dealing with mental health, and I didn't know that I was dealing with mental health. And they put me in mental health court, and I still didn't know that I had a mental health problem until it was August 2022 when I realized I had a problem with this. And having a dictionary and understanding myself, getting to know myself a little better, and applying it to my personality, and having an epiphany at that moment. Those instances, and just trying to learn from my mistakes, and I feel like I shouldn't be sent to prison, but if it's appropriate for you, then you have to do what you have to do. But I figure that if I'm in a better place in my life, I'm not doing drugs, I'm not out there committing crimes now, and I feel like I should be given a shot because I'm in a better place.
I just wanted to show that to give a little more context to that situation. The behavior of the judge and her tone and the way she was being condescending and demeaning and talking down to this person, I think absolutely played a role in his outburst, as well as his mental health and things that he brought up in his pre-sentence statement. So I'm going to do a longer video about this because I can't fit it all into this video, but yeah, just wanted to share that because people aren't sharing this side or perspective of that situation. All right, I want to talk about the Las Vegas judge who got attacked in the courtroom by a defendant this week, because most of the clips that I've seen exclude some very important context that should be considered, and frankly should serve as an example of why we as a society need to be more proactive and to mitigate the risk of people getting to these massive points of desperation that they do things like this. First, I want to say that I am not in any way condoning this defendant's behavior. Unfortunately for him, he will pay the price for his actions, as he should, because he did attack someone. I'm not defending his behavior. What I want to talk about is how the system failed this man again and again and again. This man is 30 years old, and according to his attorney, the only person he had there that day to support him was his foster mother, which indicates to me that his support system is likely inadequate for his needs. During his pre-sentencing statement, he admitted that he has mental health conditions that were undiagnosed and that he was dealing with mental health crises when a lot of his past domestic violence acts were committed. And he goes on to say how he's in a much better place now because since he discovered that he has mental health conditions, he's been doing all he can to get the help that he needs. But he kept reiterating how he's in a much better place now than he was back then. The judge also mentioned that the court found him mentally capable 2 times prior to this to stand trial. And I'm not sure what that testing entails or what it is that they're looking for, but from what I understand, their job is to make sure that someone is mentally capable to make decisions and they're competent to be able to do so. The issue that I have with that criteria is that they're likely looking over a great population of people who have mental health conditions, but since they're able to communicate and form sentences, it seems that they're found mentally capable to stand trial. And while this man may be mentally capable to stand trial, I personally question if he's mentally or emotionally equipped to stand trial or to go to prison, which is why I think that a more reasonable trauma-informed, mental health-informed judge might have noticed that his needs are not going to be met in any prison environment. Now, the defendant did have a lengthy criminal history, but as he's reiterating that he's in a much better place now than he was back then, he also stated that he had just secured a really good job with the union, where he sounded really excited about the salary with that job. And as someone without a high school diploma, an opportunity like that, the chance of that coming along again is pretty low. His attorney also mentioned that when he was in school that he had a history of having an IEP, which indicates that he needs extra accommodations and support to thrive in a school or work environment. What I'm saying is that the evidence that prison wasn't the place for this man was all there. The judge just ignored it. And I don't know this for sure, but the way that this man talked about going back to prison a second time, and obviously from the way he reacted when he realized that he was going back to prison for a second time, that indicated to me that his experience in prison the first time was likely traumatizing, unhelpful, bad experience. And I'm not a doctor, I'm not trying to diagnose him, but as someone who is passionate about mental health care accessibility, it was very clear to me that this man has severe impulse control issues, and that they obviously manifest with violent outbursts. And it doesn't take a rocket scientist to come to the conclusion that those issues in a prison environment could result in detrimental effects both on a psychological level as well as a physical level for both the defendant as well as any other inmates that he interacts with. But it appears to me that a secure mental health facility would have been a more appropriate sentencing for him so that he could get the help that he needs. I also want to talk about the condescending nature in which this judge spoke to and about the defendant. I think that her interrupting him and her borderline sarcastic tone would bother anyone, especially a person in his position with his history. So whether the judge realized it or not, she was antagonizing him, all while delivering the most devastating sentence that he could have received, that is going to uproot his life and all the work that he's done to try and be better. I'm not saying that she deserved to be attacked. No one does. But she definitely should have been more mindful with her words, her tone, her delivery. And I think that showing people compassion in a moment like this, where the defendant was so vulnerable in sharing his story with her, I think that that would have resulted in a more peaceful outcome for everyone, because he showed a clear desire to do better. But unfortunately, our court and prison system is not set up in a way that fosters opportunities to do that. And I just think that these are things that we should consider and think about when we see these clips on the news and pass judgments on the person who is exhibiting the harmful behavior. And think about, as a society, what could we have done to ensure that this man gets the help that he needs? Because he clearly wants to do better, but there are roadblocks for him.